Good morning. It's Dr. Bill Williams on the Influencers Podcast. We're here stuck in the middle with you between Christmas and New Year's. We don't mind being here with you, though, because we've got an excellent guest today. While everybody's on vacation, taking time off, maybe it's time to take a little bit of look at what's going on in the world of staffing, executive roller coaster expert. Hey, I'm talking about Kelli Christina from Dallas, Texas, of course. Let me bring her on, and she's got quite a story today. I want everybody to listen up because, hey, Kelli, there you are. Good to see you.
Hi, Dr. Bill. Thank
Good
you
to-
so much for the invite to Influencers Podcast, and I'm delighted to be between Christmas and New Year's with your show.
Yeah, who else would want to be here on their vacation time? But you are, and I am. So we're having fun. We have a lot of people that are watching because they're not working either. So this is probably going to be one of the most watched shows of the whole year right now.
I absolutely love your spirit.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you.
awesome.
What I want to do is let people know kind of what is the secret sauce. What is the magic you bring? You're not just your average staffing company. I don't think you've got some, power behind you. So let's let the people know right away what happened. How'd you get started in this, and what's the big deal about KD Staffing?
Well, yes, I'm the owner of KD Staffing, and we were founded in 2007. And we've won a lot of awards, healthcare leadership. I've won just sales awards throughout my career, healthcare executive awards. And I think you're here to ask me, how did my success get started? How did you
Exactly.
start? And while this might be an old-fashioned, answer, Dr. Bill, I'm going to have to give my success dated way back to the day I was born to the way I was raised and my parents. And the reason why that's my answer is because, I, way back when I started babysitting when I think I was 12 years old. But the funny thing about my parents is, and you get to an older age and you almost want to apologize to your parents for challenging them so much. And see, I never challenged my parents with a lot of behavior problems, but it was who I was born, who was I going to be at 12 years old. In my mind, I was going to be running the entire country. So if that is your attitude at 12 years old, you will challenge people. So my parents were very challenged. I came from, I'm originally from Sioux City, Iowa. So I was born a Midwest family. And I think the culture in the Midwest is very, very serious, hardworking, ambitious. So
Solid people.
I was
Solid
born
people.
in Iowa. And then we would move to Texas at the age of 12. And it was the land of construction dreams for my dad. But the reason why I bring it up is, I always challenged my parents. I was always going to be rich. My goals were just uh, way on the top all the time. I was told often that the family couldn't afford me. We were a Midwest family. My parents had four children, But Dr. Bill, my parents taught me at a very young age, okay, Kelli, anything that you want out there, you're going after it. You're going after it yourself. You're going to have to work for it. You're going to have to earn it, and you're going to have to make that money if you want to shoot for the stars. So by the time I was in high school, I was already on 2 jobs, so that I could afford the Indianettes. And, at the time in the 80s, the Indianettes were, you would say it was for the people rich. But I made the team, Dr. Bill. I probably barely made the team, but I made it, and I was going to keep up. So, that would roll into what type of career I had. But my parents taught me, go out there, get what you want, but it's going to take hard work, thinking outside the box, going above and beyond, being honest. And so, as I was a boss at 19 years old. So, my first career was restaurant management. Absolutely loved it. And then I would switch into recruiting. So, I've been 23 years with staffing and recruitment. The way I run operations, I always attribute what I learned in running operations to my bosses of the 90s. I was a boss at 19. Somebody trained you on how you're going to handle problems, handle the staff, how are you going to get higher sales, how are you going to budget down. So somehow that always just carries out through your career. 23 years ago when I started recruitment, I didn't have to be the boss. There's a lot of times in my life I don't have to be the boss, but I always end up being the boss. And that's because you go out there, you hit the results, you follow the boss's instructions, you get smarter, bigger, stronger, and then you're the boss again. So I would open KD Staffing in 2007. I absolutely love working with the medical industry. We are, as the CEO of KD Staffing, we're the caretakers for the medical professionals, because we have to remember that at the end of the day, they're all people. Okay. And so jobs is a very emotional topic. Good things happen, bad things happen. Anyway, the medical industry never shuts down. And so we're when we're out there managing people's jobs, we're helping them in the interview process. We're helping them move, transition, get settled into a good job. And so it's important, and I'm very passionate about it. But you are right. We do work extra hours at KD Staffing. We make calls on the weekends, not 100, not 200, but we go above and beyond, because the way I look at it is our medical professionals, they're working the holidays, they're working the weekends, and if they need us to call them, we're calling them.
Very
And
good.
but very passionate career.
So you got started early and you did well. You rose up rapidly. It must not have been all perfect. What happened along the way that was a learning experience?
You know, Dr. Bill, I'm going to be 54 years old in January, this month coming up. And I would say that, some of the strongest leaders out there, we know success and we know failure. So, and I know I started to tell you this right before the interview. If you want to read about one of my biggest failures in life, and there's more than one, I tend to get hit about once a decade with something that you're going to fall down and get back up about. But you could pick up, it's an international best-selling book, inspirational testimonial, but writing the executive roller coaster, medical staffing cases. And the reason why I talk about failure.
I think we lost your voice, your audio there. Check your settings there. I don't have your audio working right now. Your mic's not connected. Your mic's not connected. Don't know why. I'd say you might need to unplug something and plug it back in, or maybe hit the key.
Hear me
How about
now?
now I hear you.
Okay, I don't know why it went to. That is weird. I hope I didn't hit a button. Okay.
Sometimes a keyboard will make it do that. Hit the keyboard.
Okay. I'm back on. I'm so sorry. Do we want to start with that question again?
No, you're
Are
doing
you
good.
able to edit?
Just keep running with your book. You were talking about the medical executive Rollercoaster.
So just keep going. Are you going to edit this?
Nope, it's live.
Okay, my mic. We were discussing writing the executive roller coaster medical staffing cases, my newest best-selling book that launched in 2021. Anyway, that is an original litigation book rewritten to tell the story. So everybody, what happened in that book is based on real life events, but everybody was changed into a fictional character. I play Catherine in the book. And Catherine or myself at the age of 2010, early 40s, was a boss. She always had money in the bank accounts. Everybody counted on her for money, right? And it was my career. And the thing is that there was a very bad lawsuit, and it was so bad that a company would lose 85% of their production, and the team members, a couple of the recruiters, would go homeless. Well, Dr. Bill, I'm the famous homeless recruiter of 2011 in the book. And the reason why I say I was homeless. But the thing is that first you're going through the life example. Like, you've always had money your entire life and your bank account goes on zero. So first you're a sinking ship. All right. And the book covers sinking ship. You're losing everything. You're losing first your utilities, your cable, and then you're losing lights, and then you're losing vehicles, and then you're moving out because you are done. Right. And we were able to save my stuff. I have a I have a couple ex-boyfriends that learned that, I've always paid for myself. During that loss, they did try to help me, and they found out I was a very expensive lady that they never had to pay for. All right. But anyway, we walked the streets. And the reason why I bring that up is we don't always understand what our homeless and our underprivileged actually go through because we don't walk in their shoes. So all these years later, when I say, God, when I had money that wasn't given to me at office, probably about 100,000, but I lost the money and they kept it, and I walked the streets. What did I learn? I learned, Dr. Bill, to walk in their shoes and see what's going on. Because what we don't understand with our underprivileged is that, they're not all lazy, right? They're not all rotten. There are some beautiful hearts with our underprivileged. So anyway, I would learn that. But I also, Dr. Bill, had to learn a couple other things through this experience. Number one, how are you going to rebuild? Well, I had to take 2 or 3 jobs that I was underqualified for, right? Which is a total slam on your pride at the time. How am I going to do these jobs, right? But I was forced through hard time to do what it takes. And sometimes doing what it takes means you're going to swallow your pride and you're going to get to work. So I learned that. And the other thing is, and this is a big one, because I still, on my budget today, my budgeting has changed. So in 2011, I would learn if you don't have cash, you're not buying it. Okay. And my budgeting would change because I had to rebuild on straight cash. Now, I was the spoiled lady that had 25 credit cards in her purse at any time. All right. I mean, I had an attorney talking about my wardrobe, when we were trying to move me out, and he's helping me pack. And he's like, Kelly, what have you lost your money over your wardrobe? And I had to say, hey, bud, stay out of this. All right. My wardrobe is my wardrobe. But long story short, I would learn to tighten my budget, use less credit cards, and I run a much tighter budget these days. But all these years later, I also have what's called financial freedom with less stress. Now, some people would say I'm a company tightwad. Other people say, wow, you're amazing, because I will spend money, on the right things. But there's a lot I don't allow myself in overspending these days.
It all depends on your perspective as to what's
It
valuable,
certainly
right?
does. It does.
Tell me about what motivates you internally now at this point in your life.
What motivates me internally is I'm still a very passionate leader. I wish, and I always want to inspire people to make a difference in society today. I think we live in a very selfish society where everybody has kind of forgotten. They have forgotten that everybody can make a difference in a very small way. And when I say, in making a difference, it's not always just about money. All right. I'm very big into service work. And service work doesn't require money. It requires sometimes people stepping out of their selfish habits and ways and actually lifting a helping hand and doing things that are uncomfortable to help other people. So I'm very big into service world work. But I
Tell me,
always want to inspire and I challenge a lot of people that we can do a lot better in this country together, Dr. Bill, together.
sounds like a winner to me. I was in Rotary, and service above self was our motto. Like, we wanted to meet together as business leaders to do something positive for the community.
Mhm.
What about your company? Do you have a motto like that?
Uh, my company's motto, I've got a couple different mission statements. A big one for me is I feel we can take more or less clients and give them a higher 4 to 5 star service and actually do the job right and make our money. So I'm very big into that. I'm very big into team. And with my own team, whether we are shrunken and I have no employees or we're growing again, it depends on what year. But I shoot my people the truth. I'm transparent, honest, and I give it just what it is. All right. I don't oversell how much money they're going to make. All right. Now, I'm very big into as a team, let's share some money because Dr. Bill, it's not just about me and my money. Now, I still believe in ambition. If you're ambitious, if you're getting those results, then you know what? You deserve more money. But at the same time, with results, if you're lazy, if you're sloppy, if you're not getting the job done, I'll fire you. I know how to nicely fire people. I've fired people for so long. So, but work with your team. You know, I'll spend money when we're creating big results. I'll spend a lot of money on my team just for fun and celebrate results and everything. But if we are not making the results, there's no fun. I've turned into just a battle axe.
Sounds like success secrets coming left and right. Fire with a passion, but have fun too.
Exactly.
Why should somebody take advantage of using KD staffing? Buy from you.
Well, KD staffing is a contingent model, which means, hey, we're not making money unless we're producing results. All right. But we're on the permanent side. We staff permanent medical professionals nationwide in hospitals. Sometimes hospitals, even freestanding ERs or clinics or whatever, they get bought into, or they have to hire travel or contract people. Well, Dr. Bill, those travel and contract people cost my clients about 4 times the rates. And I know that because I used to run the travel divisions. So KD Staffing can bring in permanent nurses at a lower fee, bring some stability to your staff. And the idea is that I run fair prices. So in the long run, our hospitals, our clinics, or whoever's staffing will save a little bit of money.
Excellent. Who's your client? Your ideal client?
My ideal, I mean, we tend to, staff hospitals, but Dr. Bill, I've staffed 49 out of 50 states. All right, I haven't staffed in Alaska, but I'll steal their nurses for other states. All right, but the ideal client for me is the hospital. But we do clinics. Freestanding ERs are big these days. If you need staffing permanent. And we try to focus on nurses, but we do nursing managers, directors, and we tend to work very well with some of our smaller hospitals, and rural hospitals. So I know that's a long-winded answer. Final answer, hospitals want our staffing.
Now, how do you find them? Do you have a referral basis more, or do you go by associations, online sources? How do you find the client?
Dr. Bill, I'm the lady with the plan. All right. Everybody else might have one plan. I'm going to have 6 or 12. So how do you market is all across the board. As a company owner, from year to year, trends are always changing. So you have to switch up. I've used a lot of marketing companies out there to try to capture clients. But sometimes a good old fashioned referral works very well. I have a couple people out there that the way we're going to start 2024 is inside referrals. Who do you know that needs staffing?
What about
So,
your nurses and all the people that actually fill the positions? How do you find them?
well, that's the thing. You're looking for the executives, the human resources, the hiring managers is who you're looking for, and they're out there. Is it easier to go on an inside referral? Absolutely. I'm just the old-fashioned, hey, you connected us, let's get going. Although I would take any client that called me. You know, there are a lot of ways to market. There are about 1 million marketing companies out there. I've tried some amazing, marketing companies, and but I'm always switching up the processes. Based on my budget right now, we're going to literally launch out in January with the couple people that are out there selling KD staffing.
Tell me about your product. What do you actually sell to the hospitals?
We're staffing. We're just basic dinosaur staffing. You know, um, you know, the medical industry is still short staffed. During the pandemic, Dr. Bill, we had a lot of people on the COVID contracts. All right, so permanent, which was us guys, was down a little bit. Because if you're a nurse or a medical professional, if you can get a COVID contract for $120, right? And permanent is 50 or 60 or 70, then they jumped at COVID contracts. Only those are short term. They beat the what out of you. And at some point, which we're falling into the year where our medical professionals, they want their long-term jobs back. That's us.
What about qualifications for people to be considered for KD staffing positions? Do they have to be meeting certain criteria? And I'm interested in the vax question. Do you have a employer group that demands vaccine, or do
Okay,
you have some that
so
don't?
So to answer your question is I have a ton of recruitment and screening processes with my own team. So medical professionals are always going to be pre-qualified, pre-screened, and I ask clients or new clients for a lot of information up front. So I'm not throwing them a bunch of just people that they're not going to hire. Okay. They're with my team 2 to 4 calls first. And then if they qualify for the job, then I pass them to the hiring manager. Now, boy, were there headaches. I hate to, the headaches on the vaccines and what we're going to do and what we're not going to do. And that was very strong in 2021. Do I have to vaccinate? Do I not have to vaccinate? Well, I don't even want to test. I had to tell some nurses, hey, if you're not going to test and you're not going to vaccinate, you're not going to have a job. Now hospitals are lightening up, and the medical industry is lightening up. There are still some that are requiring vaccines, but more so there's religious health exemptions. There's exemptions that the medical professionals can get these days. They're trying to lighten up on the vaccines a little bit. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm particularly interested in the new research that's come out proving the vaccines didn't work, proving that they harm people, and the requirement that you have to be vaxxed to work in the medical profession. I'm wondering if that's already started to cause litigation, and have you seen that?
What I see is that our employers, the hospitals, are lightening up on the vaccines. You know, they were demanding it, they backed out. And yes, it's all the opinions on, are these vaccines dangerous? Do they work? You know, what's going to be the repercussions? All of that. I've heard all the arguments with the medical professionals, but they are winning. Just know they're winning, okay? Because we're lightening up on these whole vaccines. We really are. And I'm
Yeah,
happy about it. I'm very happy about it because what a headache 2021 was. I was like, if I had to hear about this one more time, I think I'm going to scream, you know?
yeah,
And, but, force people, no. I agree. No, you do not force anybody.
that's a good
That
point of view.
that is their own decision. It's
In
their health.
2023, if anybody
Yeah.
says you have to be vaxxed, then you basically need to walk away.
Exactly. I agree with you. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I say walk away too. Just a little hidden secret. The client that I was working with through the pandemic, they were pushing it hard not to force, medical professionals, and that was my team. Like, hey, they're not forcing it. Come on, bring it, bring it. I recruited a lot of nurses to Arizona in 2020 and 2021. And they were not forcing it. They were sweating out forcing it. They didn't want to force it. They're going to do the exemptions. And I totally supported that.
yeah. I think that was a wise move for the ones who didn't go through and be coerced. Now, let's talk about you and what you're grateful for today.
Bill, I love this question. Okay. Besides the Bible or God or church, I would say, what are you grateful for is kind of written in my Bible. Because if I tell people all the time, write a gratitude list. All right. It helps you with positive energy and it helps you with your mind and your focus on a daily and a weekly basis. So if you ask me what I'm grateful for, in December of 2023. I'm very grateful. I have one of the largest networks of love and support you would ever imagine. I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful that we can pay the bills. I am operating with damaged companies, but I'm keeping my businesses above water, right? Which is huge. With my ambition and my planning, we're not going down. you know I'm grateful for a life program, my life coach. I'm grateful to God and my faith and my spiritual life. So I think that's enough on gratitude, but I could keep going, Dr. Bill.
Yeah, you do. You have a big blessing, and you really are centered with that. I want to know a little bit about your goal with your book. I know you talked about movies and things. What do you hope to achieve this year?
Well, I am going out, and I'm highly honored, but I'm a little bit nervous. I'll be going out to Arizona, in Phoenix, Arizona, in March, and we will be celebrating, and I will be on stage, and it's live cameras in Arizona. But we'll be celebrating the International Impact Book Award on writing the executive roller coaster medical staffing cases. It's a huge honor. But you will notice in that book, yeah, it's a juicy story. And it's a story, and that's where I got writing an executive the roller coaster, when you're on top of life and then you go down and then you come back up. That's how I inspired, the name on the book. But it's also a number one book on number one best-selling on in legal. My government work in this country, it's 8 years just medical staffing. All right. So you got a lot of You have too many attorneys in the book. You have government officials, you have the White House, you have the FBI, you have authorities. So yeah, it's a juicy book. But again, some people call it a crime drama. It's a notebook, a memoir. It's an inspirational testimonial book. And so it's been titled a lot of things, but it's my life story, Dr. Bill. And some people, because you haven't seen me on media for many years, and I'm very late to come to the media, it's kind of funny because people expected me on national cameras when I was up in Washington, D.C. in 2014 and fighting President Obama and the Obama administration. And, of course, I was up there with a lot of the medical professionals. I don't know if you remember 2014, but they were all, lobbying Washington, D.C. It was about Obamacare. Well, I was with President Obama, and it wasn't Obamacare, okay? It was what was going on in medical staffing. And you will see in the book a very bad lawsuit, and people get hurt. But some recruiters that got hurt in this book, they decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to go criminal. And they learned the wrong way to recruit. And they decide in this book that, hey, we're going to hit hospitals nationwide with engagement fees, right? But then we're going to take their money and we're not going to perform the services and we're going to run. Okay. Now, this is called bad business, fraud, okay, and practices, corrupt practices that will ruin an entire industry. And I love medical staffing. And I think the last time I ran the math on staffing, Dr. Bill, I think the entire staffing industry at one time was about 200 billion. So when we have the bad guys that break out in business, if we let them keep going, they're going to ruin all of us. All the companies out there that are just doing an honest job. So it was a very big fight that myself and my legal team, all my attorneys took with me. Because if I'm swinging a fight, they're swinging right with me. So we swung it up to the White House in 2014. The problems came back down to Texas. And then, oh, by the way, Dr. Bill, the problems went back up to Donald Trump. And by the time Donald Trump got it, of course, he had a letter to me in 5 days, like, Miss Christina, I'm checking on it right now. Of course, it was already filed into federal investigations. So it's a juicy book.
Sounds like a winner. Hope you make it into a great movie.
The movie companies have been hitting Dr. Bill. They started last year. Okay. And CBS, before I launched the book, predicted it for filming. We have not found the right movie company. But surprisingly enough, and I'm very proud to announce that, if you have a #1 legal book with all the attorneys in the book, now I have an attorney, and she's specialized in filming and literature, Dina, and she has officially become my literary agent. And she's got to sell that book. I'm not making money, and she's not making money until she sells that book, or I give her the right lead. So we're going to work on it. It's a long, you've got to I want to find that book, the right business home, somebody I like, somebody that can respect me. And then, oh, by the way, just issue an honest and fair legal agreement. It's called a book option contract.
Are you the next Erin Brockovich?
Huh? You know what? That is so funny that you brought that up, Dr. Bill, because about 10 years ago, people used to say, you are Julia Roberts in Erin Brockovich. This is exactly. And so I've told movie companies that this is how, it's a different legal matter, okay? But the book reminds them, and they often would call me, you're like Erin Brockovich, Kelli Christina.
Yeah, exposing the corruption. That's true.
Somebody has to
Let's jump into the question that you would give yourself advice if you were 20 years old thinking about your career. What would you do different, or what would you do the same?
I love being an older age because, now I'm 3 decades into a career, and it does change your style, your thinking. So if I were to roll it back to 20 years old, the most I would say to myself is, at an older age, I've learned to work through whether we're talking about life problems or work problems. The grass is not always greener on the other side of the fence. And I would have turned my thinking around because I think that, yes, I was always going to be a superhero. Every decade I was going to climb to the top, and I did a really good job doing it. But I would have been a little bit more patient. There's some jobs out there that I might have stayed long term, with better communication. So I think more at an older age about jumping ship. I think more, I give the process a little bit more time, whether we're talking about relationships or business, but sometimes you got to go. So I would be more patient at a younger age. And I think there's some beautiful jobs that maybe I could have retired with if only given the chance.
This one is going to take you to the end. I have a feeling you don't have to change jobs again. Why do you want to be impactful? And I think our audience knows you do want to make a difference. Why is it important?
It's making a difference. Here's the deal. I do laugh at myself, especially the female in the book. And sometimes you ask yourself, why am I the way I am? And you just shake your head at yourself, right? And making a difference in fighting large issues to make changes in the country, it's just designed, it's just a part of my makeup. I don't know how to be any different. Dr. Bill, when I was going to Washington, D.C., or I was planning my budget to be in D.C. in 2014, there were a couple people that said to me, Kelli Christina, take that extra money you made during the holidays and go on vacation. Take a cruise. Why in the world do you want to go to Washington, D.C. and fight with President Obama? And my answer back then is probably the same answer I have right now, because somebody has to fight in the country, because somebody has to focus on how we're going to fix problems in our country. Would have it been easier to take the cruise? Yes. But I'm always going to take the hard road, and we're going. We're going. And the other thing is that, on a very fun note, my favorite president is John F. Kennedy. And in 2014, I planned for my birthday, I was going to be up at John F. Kennedy's graveside. And I was. And I was all dressed up. I was in the suit. My feet were freezing, right? But I spent hours at his gravesite. And that's what I wanted to do. And of course, Security Gordon, who was guarding his gravesite, he's like, why are you up here? And of course, I give him this long spill on what's going on with medical staffing. And he's mad at President Obama because he skipped a special appointment. And, but you know what? And that would have to go back to, because did you not take me seriously because I'm a female and my order of business? Because that's what I was mad about at the time. You will take my order of business serious, President Obama. And he ignored me. But the point is that I learned, Dr. Bill, to file my own federal investigation, and it was medical staffing. And I had a girlfriend, she ran FDIC federal investigations for years. She taught me how to do it. We filed it right in the middle of the election in 2016. I delivered letters to all the government officials, and I said, you will not forget my order of business in medical staffing. So I'm a stubborn lady. And my feelings is if a president is too lazy to handle a problem, by God, here I come. I'm going to run in and I'm going to handle it myself, and I will. And so anyway, that's enough on that. I was mad at President Obama in 2014.
As were a lot of people.
Oh my gosh, don't get me started on the medical industry, okay? Yeah.
Tell me how you want to be remembered.
I want to be remembered for all the friendship and all the people that I've had in this world and my heart. I also want to be remembered for my accomplishments and my ambition and my ability to go above and beyond. And that's what, in short, what I want to be remembered for. I'm a person that I don't fear death. I should have died multiple times. I'm on borrowed time. For me, Dr. Bill, if I die, I'm going to heaven. And for me, in heaven, there's no bills and there's no business stress.
Man,
But
there's
I
nobody
love
to
my
hire.
career. Do what?
Nobody to hire and fire.
Exactly. Exactly. Go
How
down
can
the
we
right way.
how can we support you? Give us the connection to get to KD Staffing and also to find your book.
So KD Staffing has so many different ways you can contact us, but our company website is www.k.d as in dog staffing. No. kdstaffing.org.
.org.
Yes, my author website with a short write up on the book, and there's a buy book is KelliChristina.com.
That's your name.
And that's enough. I have a list, Dr. Bill. I don't want to give you my whole list on how you can get a hold of me. I have like 15 sites. You can find me. You really can. If you try hard enough, you'll find me.
Excellent, excellent. We'll put some links in the show notes in the YouTube so people can actually find it too.
Thank you. And I'll text you the information because I know Kelli Christina is a very long name. All right.
Yep. Go ahead and tell us what you would like, as I'll give you the entire picture and let you talk to our audience now to have the final word before we come back and chat for. So go ahead and have the page all to yourself. I'll be here in the background.
So my final word would be, I hope everybody's planning and pre-planning and making plans for a beautiful 2024. I know that our country, our businesses, our industries are all, they're struggling with the pandemic and inflation and the economy, and the list just rolls on. Challenges. Guys, keep going. I preach and I tell a lot of people, hey, do what it takes. If it's going to take 2 to 3 incomes, if it's going to take you thinking outside of the box, whatever it is, come up with some big plans. But let's make 2024 stronger for everybody. Don't give up. Keep marching forward. And I've had a beautiful time with my family and everybody coming up with new money plans and new ambitious plans, and how are we going to help each other out in 2024, and it's been wonderful. So let's have a stronger year. That's what I say. And then, oh, you know what? We need that new election. We need that new election. Let's
Bring it
go.
on.
You bring it on, baby. We got to make some changes in this country.
Yeah, thank you, Kelli. That was excellent. We're all kindred spirits here on the Influencers Podcast. I think for the most part, everybody's waiting for the big change.
We need some changes. We really do.
The proper reset, as we call it. Now, one of the things that people can do.
Go ahead.
Yeah, one of the things people can do to start the reset is start capturing your own freedom. And you can connect to me at the QR code up above, which is going to lead to 2 things. On my digital business card, I usually highlight what's going on for me. The first thing is the Influencers Podcast. So if anybody wants to become a guest on the Influencer Podcast, there's an application on my Influencer Podcast page called drbillwilliams.tv. And there's also information on AI technology that I like to share with people. I give away a lot of free software. And so the thing that made this QR code or this custom URL, I give that away for free. So anybody who's interested in having fun stuff to give away, well, you can do that. You can also become a free member of our group, and you can give away what I'm giving away. So that's kind of a fun thing. And some of the stuff
Dr.
we
Bill,
have,
I've got somebody specifically in mind for you that I think he would be perfect. And I hope that I could at least pass your information along to somebody that would fit into the Influencers Podcast.
Yeah, we take suggestions, and
Okay.
we're glad to take somebody's opinion of who would be a good influencer, because we want people that have an audience or people that have something that needs an audience. It doesn't have to be already have an audience. And we all want to bless one another. That's kind of the whole purpose. Speaking of blessing, one of our products that we have to give away is called Oh Bless, which is going to be a fundraising, GoFundMe type of a process where we help nonprofits and startups to get on their feet and get going. And so
I love it. That
anything you've
is,
got that's
yeah,
useful, we can promote it for you.
that is I love that idea, you know, because we've stopped giving. And there's reasons why sometimes we stop giving, with all the inflation and
Hmm.
economy and everything. It's harder to give right now, but it doesn't mean we can't give,
That's
you
right.
know?
There's got to be a higher purpose to your company, to your goal, to your family, not just to consume, but to give back, right?
Exactly. Now I've learned some hard lessons on who I'm not going to give to in this country. All
There you
right.
go.
Because we got to be careful. There is so much. I mean, Dr. Bill, I was on the phone with the fraud department end of Christmas Day on who got one of the bank cards, and they shut it down for me. But I'm always talking to the bankers about what's going on in this country. And they're still dealing with so much, not just national fraud, but international fraud. Right. So everybody thinks, hey, let's screw everybody else for the money. Well, you know what? That's what's wrong with our society is, you know what? We've forgotten how to honestly collect money, obeying the laws, making a difference. This whole, hey, let's screw everybody for money, it's got to go away. It's got to be replaced with honesty, integrity, obeying the laws. And by the way, collect your money, but do it the honest approach. All
Yeah.
right. So I would
Yeah.
expect, Dr. Bill, that I will still be fighting. I'll
Pick a
be
cause,
fighting
any cause,
Hollywood.
and you're
I'll
going to
be
fight
fighting
for the right.
Hollywood on duet.
Pick a cause, any cause, and you're going to fight for the right. Whatever's
I
right, you're
am.
going to fight.
I will. But you know what? Speaking of fight, what you fight, just because, a lot of people call me an attorney with no law degree. But I've always had a legal team. And yeah, my legal team is it's way smaller right now because we are dealing with company damages. And, I have a couple attorneys that were with me for decades and they're retired. But when you're out fighting legal or whatever, just because you know legal, it doesn't mean you take a fight with everybody. It's called you pick battles. Okay. Now,
Pick
I
your
just
battle.
tend to take the big fights, Dr. Bill. I don't know why, but I'll take a big one and I'll just keep coming in. And here's my battle axe. Here's my battle axe. And I'm carrying it. Right. And you just can't win it. Not with me. You can't. You might as well just cooperate and obey the laws and collect money honestly, because otherwise I'm going to shut you down.
There you go. Well,
I mean,
one of
I know
the
it's Christmas between New Year's, but I'll just keep fighting and I'll keep fighting. And people are all like, Kelli Christina, she is a warrior. And she is known to, when it comes to crooks, she'll eat you breakfast, lunch, and dinner, baby. That lady's gonna get you.
look out for Christina.
You gotta battle the crooks in the country, Dr. Bill.
Yeah, one of the sayings we have in our company is we are the correction to the corruption. So you might be interested in how we're doing that. So I'll leave it at that. You have to have something to find out about what's
Mm.
going on with us. So that's the way it is. Everybody, take a take a look at this trim. Get your free stuff. Come in and become a free member and learn about how you can be the correction to the corruption with us. That's pretty much it for today at the Influencers Podcast. We want to say thank you for being with us, Kelli, and thank you, audience, for being with us, listening to this story of the warrior princess from Texas.
The sassy lady. Hey, Dr. Bill, it's been an honor. Thank you so much for taking this time to put me on your show, right in the middle of the holidays. And I love what you're doing out there. You're going right in the right direction. And you are absolutely correct. The more people that work together, the better. The more people that we can have to cooperate and fix problems, the better, right? And I love what you're doing. In short, I'm shutting up. Dr. Bill, keep going in 2024.
Thank you, Kelli. Kelli Christina with KD Staffing, but much, much more. Thank you. We'll talk to you later on this week on the Influencers Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.